Yes, hi everyone, and welcome to the Rest Show. This week we're gonna Hi everyone, and welcome to the Rest Show. This week we're gonna be talking about the Atheist Dilemma. What is the dilemma? Well, we cannot have it both ways. For those who are not in the Lord and they're thinking about coming towards Christianity, for those who are not sure, they don't want to have that, they don't want to make that step of faith. Well, let me give you another argument why. Sometimes we question God and we say, God, why do you allow all this evil to go? If you're God, why don't you interfere? On the other hand, here's Alex O'Connor. We're gonna listen to one of his questions that is asking Cliff and Stuart Needle, one of the two top apologists in the United States. They go to campuses to students and they talk about Jesus and they get questions and they defend the faith very well. But this time, Alex O'Connor has a very good question, and I'm not gonna let Cliff and Stuart answer the question. I'm gonna do it myself because I guess it's my show and I wanna have my take on it too, But if you wanna listen to the show, it's called Within Reason with Alex O'Connor. But without any further ado, let's listen to Alex O'Connor. Here we go.
Do you think that this grace, this omnipotence, this love and charity of the Old Testament God is expressed in the instances where he commands the complete obliteration of entire nations of people, including the women and the children and even the animals, at multiple points throughout the history of the Israelites trying to conquer their holy land, which is promised to them by God, such that if anybody is already living there, they're driven out, and if they refuse to leave, they're chased out and they're killed, and then they come back and they kill the women and the children. Do you think that this is the same graceful, loving God that's issuing these commands?
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna be taking from there. Well, you know what? Of course it's the same God, but we are living in different covenants. We used to have the Mosaic law, the covenant of Moses, which was ruled by the law of God, and now we are in the covenant of grace, which is from Jesus. Since he came, since the temple was destroyed in the year 70 in Israel, in Jerusalem, well, now we're living under the grace of God. And the grace of God is the favor extended to us, and he's calling us back to himself. And if we receive his forgiveness and we want what he wants, well, it's going to restore us, it's going to forgive us, and now we're under that covenant. That's why we have two different scenarios. Right now, we don't see God interfere in certain wars and all that. We don't have no more the established Israel, the king of Israel ruling and wanting to possess certain land, which is the promised land. And at the same time, the people that were there, of course, there was women and children that died like innocently, I understand that. And for sure it could grieve anybody's heart, say, how could God ordain such a thing? But we forgive something, or we forget. Sorry, we don't forgive something. We forget something. That God at the end is going to be victorious. And all these people that die in vain, there'll be a reward in the future. if we believe that this is we're just passing by and there's a better life for us, for those who practice righteousness, or for those who die innocently, premature children, people who never received the forgiveness of God, who were trying to do the best in the eyes of God, to live a righteous life, and they die without knowing the mercy of God, well, there's a place for them, I believe. And all those people that die in those wars that God command, I'm pretty sure they will receive a reward. Let's continue with Alex O'Connor, continuing with the same type of questioning, and then I'll give you a Bible verse and we'll end it up. Okay, so let's see what Alex O'Connor has to say.
Do you have it written down? This is the destruction of the Amalekites. God issues the command now, go attack the Amalekites and totally destroy all that belongs to them. Do not spare them. Put to the death men and women, children and infants, cattle and sheep, camels and donkeys. Of course, this can't be literal, because it's not just the camels and sheep and the donkeys. Oh, but you can leave the, you can leave the pigs or whatever. Sure, this is sort of like slightly rhetorical language. But it's very clear, like, leave alive nothing that breathes. Kill the men, kill the women, kill the animals, kill the cattle. And in fact, when Saul decides at the end of the battle to keep alive the king, take him as a hostage, and also keeps alive some of the animals to sacrifice, to slaughter as a sacrifice to God, what happens? He's condemned. And God says, or the scripture says, that God regretted that he made Saul king. He regretted that he made Saul king because he didn't follow his command. What command didn't he follow? That after wiping out the Amalekites, he refused to also kill all of the animals, and he kept the king alive as a hostage. And that was enough for God to say, I regret that I ever made Saul king because he didn't follow my commands. And so I understand that there may be some hyperbole involved here, but in the case where Saul is punished, specifically not for killing all of the animals, it's hard for me to imagine like how much scope there is for hyperbole here in terms of undermining the criticism that we are talking about the slaughter of innocent people here.
Okay, let's stop right there. And yes, of course, there's a lot of innocent people that die when God commands certain things, yeah? And this is what we gotta understand. Like, this is the heart of God. We're gonna check Psalm 5. Let's check this out. And then we can understand that God has two characteristics. Let's see Psalm chapter 5 verse 5 that says, the boastful shall not stand before your eyes, the eyes of God. You hate all evildoers. You destroy those who speak lies. The Lord abhors the bloodthirsty and the deceitful men. This is one of the characteristics of God. Let's continue verse 7. But whoever believes in the Lord, through the abundance of your steadfast love, will enter your house and will bow down towards your holy temple in the fear of you, in reverence of you. I know that you're a loving God, and I want to be obedient to your ways, not my ways, but your ways. And that's when we understand the goodness of God, when we approach God in reverence and we say, God, I don't really understand and why sometimes the wicked prosper and us, we don't. I don't understand why you don't interfere right now in the world that we live in, but I'm gonna trust you. And I don't understand in the past why you allow certain things to happen, but I'm gonna trust you. And that's my plea to every one of you. We gotta let God be God, and at the end he will render justice to every one of us if we believe there's an afterlife, and God will judge the good and the bad, the evil ones and the people who trusted in him. This is what we gotta rest on. Of course, sometimes it's hard to read the Old Testament and say, how could God allow certain things? But we know that all those innocent people will have a reward at the end, because God is a just God. I'll let you right there. God bless you. Bye-bye.